Welcome to our Week 2 NFL Pick'em. I'm Isaac, that's Daniel. I'm a Panthers fan. Pity me in the comments, please. That's Daniel, he's a Texans fan. Pity him in the comments, too. He's coming off a loss. So Week 1, our predictions did not go very well. We both went 9-7 despite several swing games where we disagreed. Not our best moments.
That's true.
I don't feel good about it.
Very interesting swing games, but kind of culminated. I mean, we just finished Monday night, which we both agreed on, but did culminate in that Ravens-Bills game where you picked the Ravens, I picked the Bills. But there were other games where you had the upper hand. You picked the Packers, credit to you.
Felt good about that one.
You picked the Bucs to win, which I kind of went a little bit out there with the upset, but you got that right.
The big one, though, I picked the Chargers to beat the Chiefs. That one. Yes. I went 9-7 this week, but I felt really good about that pick specifically.
That was critical. But also, just going to it real quick, there were some games that we agreed on that were also goofy. Like, we both picked the Dolphins.
Dolphins are the worst in the league, apparently. 33rd in my power rankings now, for sure.
Well, 32, that sounds about right. Or 31, you say?
33rd. They're 33. They're that bad, based on week 1. That is so bad. But that will be saved for another video, for sure. As for this one, we are doing our week 2 picks, and we're going to go ahead and get right into it with the Thursday night game. It's the Washington Commanders going at the Green Bay Packers, one of the most impressive teams in week 1, the Packers. The Commanders look good too, but it was against the lowly New York Giants. What are your thoughts on this one? Who are you taking?
Yeah, that's a good question. Obviously, both teams look very good, but especially the Packers. They had that, week 1 win against the Lions. They just kind of stymied the Lions. I thought the Commanders looked pretty good. I mean, nothing earth-shattering, but as I talked about actually in our week 1 reaction, I am buying into the Packers propaganda. I am taking the Packers to win this game against the Commanders and solidify themselves as one of the stalwarts in the NFC. I think Micah Parsons will continue to have an impact on the Packers. He's theoretically familiar with the Commanders, former division rival, so he should just be able to, know their game plan inside and out. And I'm buying the Packers. How about you?
Well, I'm a little surprised because you've been lower in the Packers than me this whole time. Preseason, before the Micah Parsons trade, I had them in the NFC Championship game. After week 1, call it overreacting, call it appropriately reacting, I've got them going to the Super Bowl. So, I'm confidently taking the Packers here. I've been lower in the Commanders in sports media. I'm high in the Packers. And the Packers are at home, right? So, I feel good about this one. I think the Packers get the win on Thursday Night Football. Jaden Daniels being in the game at all is going to make it interesting. I think the key matchup is going to be Washington's offense against the Packers' defense. But based on what they did to the Lions' offense, I feel pretty safe in saying that they're going to contain the Washington offense. But it's going to be a good battle for sure. I'm taking the Packers. We'll see what happens. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jags, coming off a week 1 win against my Carolina Panthers. I'll be the first to tell you they didn't look that impressive. They just took advantage of us being absolutely abysmal and pathetic. Not to take away credit from them or anything, but let's not act like they're suddenly elite.
But they have Travis Hunter, who made some good catches.
Travis Hunter did nothing in week 1. I hate to break it to you, no matter what the sports media says, he was not a factor in that game. But on the flip side, Cincinnati wasn't really impressive in week 1 either. They eked out a 1-point win over the Cleveland Browns, and you could argue they should have lost that game. Their offense was shut down by the Browns' defense, so that makes for an interesting matchup here. We'll see how well the Jacksonville defense holds up here. My guess is Cincinnati's offense finds its groove here, and they put up a good amount of points. They probably give up a certain amount of points too, but I'm not really going to hesitate here. Cincinnati's going to outscore Jacksonville for sure. I'm taking the Bengals in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I do think, obviously, just really any game, this could be an upset spot. And that I'm kind of somewhat high on the Jags, but at the same time, I also do realize that the Jags actually suck. And I agree, I wasn't that impressed with their win against y'all, which, it's unfortunate. It's kind of an indictment on y'all that, they beat the Panthers. They're still trash. But I do think, I would tend to agree with you. I think the Bengals will find their groove. They had a weird week 1 game, which, they always do, but at least they came out with the win. And I'm picking the Bengals to win this game. I will say I do have some upsets on the horizon, but this is not it. Not yet.
All right. Well, hopefully we're both right about this. Neither of us would be surprised if the Jags upset the Bengals, though, given that the Bengals aren't supposed to have a very good defense. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Travis Hunter has his, breakout. Weird to say breakout, go into game 2, but maybe he does go for 130 yards. You never know. But I think we're in agreement there. This will not be a swing game.
And next up, we've got a divisional matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. The Jets were impressive in week 1, at least on offense. I'm a little concerned about that defense letting the Steelers score so many points. I didn't think they realized they were allowed to score more than 30 points in a game. So, not good
crazy
for the Jets defense, but Justin Fields looks like he can play quarterback for the Jets. The Bills come to town, though. They're coming off an amazing win against the Ravens in week 1. This could be what we call a trap game. It's also a divisional game, so anything can happen.
True.
But are you going to be bold enough to pick the upset?
Yeah, that's a good question. Also, it is on the road. I would say it's in New York, but it's kind of weird how the Bills are actually the only NFL team that actually play in New York. I don't know if you knew that, but the Jets and Giants play in New Jersey. But anyway, it's on the road. Like you said, it could be a trap game. I'm not bold enough. I'm going Bills. I did see that game against the Ravens, and obviously, like, there are going to be concerns on the defense for the Bills as well. Maybe Justin Fields will light them up as well, but they're a division rival. I do think they'll take care of the Jets. I think they'll kind of hand it to them. Josh Allen will have another, great performance. So I'm taking the Bills. How about you?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills too. I think the Jets could be a good story here, just the fact that they're watchable and competitive so far. But, I mean, Buffalo looks like they're going to be one of the best teams in the league yet again. I don't see any reason for the Bills to really lose this game. I think they're well coached. They have the reigning MVP, possible two-time MVP after this season if he keeps it up. I mean, good grief.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doubting the Bills in this one. Give me Buffalo. Sorry, Jets fans. Moving on, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this was a matchup even in preseason we kind of looked at and went, oh, this is kind of weird. They're both kind of probably mediocre, good, not great teams. But this is probably a really important game in the grand scheme of things. I think we'll look back on it and say the winner has a good chance to make the playoffs, but the loser, it might be a game that kind of costs them. Especially Seattle. Now that we know they're coming off an 0-1 start, they are not looking to start 0-2. The Steelers at least started off 1-0 with a close win over the Jets. Lots of intrigue in this game, honestly. What are you thinking?
No, that's a really good question. There is a lot of intrigue. This is kind of... It's funny how I think of these random anecdotes. This is kind of the Aaron Rodgers revenge game, like when the Packers lost to the Seahawks like a decade ago, and that last minute, I think it was last minute touchdown to NFC Championship or something like that. But anyway, the Aaron Rodgers just on a revenge tour. I mean, he beat his former team, the Jets. He's going to play the Packers later, but it is a really close one and very before week 1, I definitely was more confident in Seattle. I mean, we both thought they would win against the 49ers, but in that division, you don't really want to fall to 0-2 because we think it's going to be a very tight division, and the Rams won in week 1. Obviously, the Niners won. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I am not necessarily buying into the Aaron Rodgers propaganda in that I know I've joked it, but I don't think he's going to be an MVP candidate or anything like that. I do think his stat line, last week was a little bit inflated. I mean, he played well, don't get me wrong, especially for a 41 or 42-year-old guy.
Right.
It's a very close one. I mean, I think the spread's 2.5 Steelers, so it's basically a coin flip game, or as close to it as it gets. I am picking the Steelers. I do think it could be one where it goes wrong for me, especially if you pick the Seahawks. We'll see kind of what you do there. But I do think that because a part of me is I do think the Steelers will ugly it up to 9-10 wins. I think it's going to be swing games like this to where that kind of help them. They beat the Jets in week 1 and then they get a more important matchup in week 2 and kind of ugly it out. I did say last week, I think we both kind of agreed that we kind of thought the Jets-Steelers game would be a 19-17 type game. And obviously that's not.
Yeah, we were way off.
I would be more inclined to think that this will be more of an ugly win. But I mean, again, maybe it'll just be another shootout. Very close. I was a little bit disappointed with what I saw from the Seahawks and Sam Darnold. But I'm taking the Steelers very hesitantly, but I'm taking the Steelers. What about you, Mr. Isaac?
It's so intriguing. I thought the Seattle defense played really well in week 1 overall against the Niners. They got a plethora of weapons. The Steelers do not have that. They have DK Metcalf and other players, I guess.
Calvin Austin or something like that. Yeah,
Calvin Austin, good wide receiver 3, playing as a wide receiver 2 now, I guess. I don't know. It's not comparable, basically. So they're facing a weaker offense this week, supposedly, on paper. I would imagine the defense is going to be able to contain Rodgers and company. I have faith in that, so I am thinking it'll be a lower scoring game. I do think it'll probably be closer to the 20s, though, like a 23-21 type of game. Yeah, probably a weird score somehow.
Sure.
I'm going to go with Seattle, though. I think that they're, based on what we saw from the Steelers against the Jets, the Seahawks are going to be able to move the ball. I think they should be able to run it with Walker and Charbonnet. I think Sam Darnold is going to be just fine throwing as long as he has time. JSN is going to have a good game. Cooper Kupp should be more involved this week. It's going to be close. Sure. I'm going to lean Seattle, though. I think they're more talented overall. It's going to be ugly, but Seahawks can't afford an 0-2 start. Let's see if they can get the win.
I'm here for it. It is our first swing game. But I will say, though, like I'm all here for a Seahawks kind of like comeback resurgence, I guess. Like, I do like want the Seahawks to be good. I think Sam Darnold being a consistently good quarterback would be good for the league, and like you have some like good weapons.
It's a good story.
Like that. As you mentioned, their defense has been pretty solid as well. So I'm all here for it. I just happen to think the Steelers will win this game, but if the Seahawks won, I wouldn't really be complaining.
Well, hey, we'll see. Coming into the season, I would have said it's a mismatch on paper with the defensive line of the Steelers against the shaky offensive line of the Seahawks. Sure. But from what we've seen on the field so far,
after 1 week, a lot of stuff changes. Yeah, it's
crazy. We got to work with what we've got so far, and I don't know. It's going to be gross, though. I'm sure of that.
We'll see. It'll be close.
Next up, we have a matchup. It's the Rams taking on the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Titans, credit where it's due, they looked better, or at least kept it closer than you would have thought in Week 1 against the Denver Broncos. Mm-hmm. Not because of the offense, but because of the defense, which we've been warning you about all offseason. They're sneakily good. They're underrated. They're not as bad as you would think. Is that going to matter, though, against the Rams coming off a win against the Houston Texans? I'm guessing not. I don't imagine that Cam Ward is going to have that big of a day against the Rams defense. I don't think they're as good as Denver, but they should be able to keep a rookie quarterback in check. So I'm going to confidently take the Rams here. They should be able to get this win in Week 2, starting off at 2-0. What do you think, though?
So this is why I think actually the Titans. No, I'm joking. Not the Titans. I'm also picking the Rams. Again, it could be an upset spot. I mean, I thought, like, from what I heard, I thought Cam Ward played okay, but again, he barely has any support around him. We were talking on our earlier stream about how, like, he just poor guy. Like, the Titans' offense is just like a train wreck.
No, dude, you can go find a clip of a play out there where there are 3 receivers. It's a screenplay. One of those receivers is supposed to turn to catch the ball. None of them turned. They were just all blocking, and so Cam Ward just had to dirt the ball. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, your top weapons are like Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard. Like, give me a break. I do think the Rams will win. I also think one storyline that isn't talked about a lot, because obviously we know that Cam Ward had a tough debut in Week 1 against the Broncos. Well, it doesn't get that much easier against Jared Verse and the Fisk guy. I forget his name.
Braden Fisk?
Yeah, Braden Fisk. It doesn't get much easier. I mean, like, you know, I saw the game, you know, against the Texans. They were like, now we had a putrid offensive line, so that kind of helped them feast. But they're a really nasty, like, sort of pass rush. And I mean, maybe just goes to show, like, no game in the NFL is going to be easy as far as, like, that goes. But I mean, you know, you get the Broncos, which might be like a top 3 defense, and then this Rams like forefront or whatever. It's just going to be really tough sledding for Cam Ward. But I'm going to have the Rams here. I think it's just like a mismatch all across the board. Definitely Sean McVay over Brian Callahan. I definitely take Matthew Stafford at this age over Cam Ward and just all the weapons and defense and things like that. I mean, Titans defense is like not to be sneezed at or anything like that. Right. I think they're solid, but still, I take the Rams pretty much all across the board.
The only way the Titans pull this off is if their defense does what your defense did to the Rams last week. And yes. Cam Ward is so good in his second pro game that he leads the game-winning drive or something like that at the end. Well, that's the only path for them.
Yes,
it's not
that would be. I mean, he makes 1 or 2 more plays that CJ Stroud and them didn't do. I mean, it's possible, but
we're not going to be the crazy ones predicting it. Respect to whoever does, though. We're taking the Rams. Yep. Next up, we have the worst game of the week, where the San Francisco Niners are going to defeat the New Orleans Saints. We can move on now.
Wait, are you sure about that? We're supposed to talk about it.
I'm sure we don't have to talk about this. The Niners are going to win. Yeah. It's going to be ugly.
Yes. I think the Niners will win too. Next game.
Moving on to a battle of 0-1 teams, it's the Ben Johnson revenge game. It's the Chicago Bears taking on the Detroit Lions. What do you think about this one?
Really intriguing. Both teams, as you said, coming off a loss. The Lions, you know, they lost to the Packers. I think we were all kind of a little bit shell-shocked at how, like, lifeless the Lions were.
It's so lopsided. The Packers destroyed them.
Yeah, the Bears, on the other hand, we just saw that game to where it looked like they were in control, but then J.J. McCarthy just decided to be a hero suddenly, and they lost in a heartbreaking fashion. So it's really like... I still believe in the Lions. Like I was telling you earlier, like I still think they're a good team. I think they'll make the playoffs. I will say though, like I am going to be pretty quick. Like if the Packers just show me they're really good, I will be quick to pivot that they're like the best team in that division, if not like in the NFC. I'm still having a tough time, but I will take the Lions here. I still believe in the Lions overall. Is it in Detroit? Yeah, it's in Detroit, so that kind of helps out. But I think the Lions will find their groove. I think they'll have another like like a shootout. I don't know necessarily about a blowout, but I think they'll score a lot of points. I think they'll have their whole they'll throw some touchdowns to like Amon-Ra St. Brown and like Williams. They even won to T-Slaw and like Sonic and Knuckles will be back. I think they'll kind of get their groove back. And I mean the Bears, like it'll be tough. They'll be 0-2, and we'll see if Caleb Williams continues with his kind of struggles of just like holding onto the ball. Although I thought he improved on that, on Monday night for the most part from what I saw. Still some issues there, but I'm picking the Lions. What say you, Isaac?
Yeah, I'm going to go Lions here. Yeah, I believe in both of these teams still. My opinions on them don't really change after 1 week. The Lions' result was the more shocking one for sure, just based on how badly they were beaten. I picked the Packers to win, so the result itself didn't surprise me. It was just how lopsided it was. I'm sure the Lions are going to be fine. They'll figure things out. The Bears, they're going to have some struggles throughout the season. I think they'll figure it out eventually. If they're going to beat the Lions this year, though, it's going to be when they're at home. I'm not going to hesitate here. Give me the Lions at home over the Bears.
Yeah, definitely. I still think like that Ben Johnson offense, it still needs some I guess
it needs time,
baking, some developing. Yeah, just some kind of development, for them to really be like that functional.
Yeah, I still believe they'll get there. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. But I think we both, Lions. I think we'll bounce.
Yeah, we're going with the Lions here. Moving on to a divisional matchup, we've got the New Jersey Giants taking on the Dallas Cowgirls. They're both 0-1. The loser is going to be in the basement of the NFC East. I'm going to go with Dallas here. I was impressed with them in Week 1. I've got them making the playoffs this year. I know that's probably the first time our listeners here have heard that from anyone, but yeah, they're a playoff team in my eyes if they get enough wins by virtue of their offense being good. The Giants are starting Russell Wilson, and I don't think they're winning any games with him at quarterback, so I'm just not going to think about this one too much. I'm going to assume the Dallas offense outscores the Giants, and they get the win. What do you think?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I'm also taking Cowboys here. I don't think they're given enough credit for having given the Eagles all they could handle. They could have easily won the game had CD not dropped balls. And I think he'll be better. I don't think he's going to drop as many balls in critical moments. And as you said, the Giants are starting Russell Wilson, and I think you're at the point where if you start Russell Wilson, you're probably going to lose. If they were starting Jackson Dart, I think they have a chance, or a better chance at least. But,
bro, put in Jameis Winston, and I might believe this team has a good chance to win.
Right. But I do think the Cowboys are going to win. I do find it interesting that the Cowboys are only favored by 3.5. It does kind of show. I think the Cowboys are still being a little bit disrespected. I don't quite think they're a playoff team myself, but I was very impressed with what I saw against Philly. And if they just blow out the Giants and just outplay them on all ends, then I might be inclined to, just change my mind.
That would definitely be a good look for them, but we will see what happens. Another divisional matchup here, we've got the New England Patriots taking on the Miami Dolphins. Both teams coming off a Week 1 loss, one worse than the other for sure. Miami took a beating at the hands of Indiana Jones and the Colts. The Patriots lost a close game to the Raiders. I don't really understand how the Dolphins are actually favored in this game based on what we saw in Week 1 from both teams. From what I saw, Miami doesn't have much of a defense. Their secondary is as bad as we expected it to be. And Drake May is going to have a field day here. He's probably going for 300 yards in this game, given how much the Patriots want to throw the ball, apparently. So I'm going to take the Patriots, and I'm just going to trust that Week 1 Miami is truly that bad, and it's not a fluke. Patriots win.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit baffled as to why the Dolphins. I understand why it's close. I mean, the Patriots didn't necessarily have a great showing in Week 1. I mean, we both expect them to win, and they lost to the Pete Carroll-led Raiders,
which is not a bad team, at least. I mean, it's better than the Colts.
No, that's true. I mean, it was going to be a tough matchup either way. I will say though, and we've had a lot of agreement so far, which is a little bit anticlimactic, but it is what it is. We just have our picks. I was tempted to go Dolphins here. I was maybe Tua and like Tyreek and all of them like that can like bounce back, and they'll have like kind of a track meet like
and that's possible for sure.
It is possible, but they look so dysfunctional now. Like Tyreek Hill is just like whining on the sidelines. I mean, like Tua making like just boneheaded plays. Didn't like one of the Colts corners like I think he said something like basically like once we took away Tua's first read, then like he was just lost.
Yeah, Xavier Howard made some comments publicly.
Oh, so see, I thought it was Xavier Howard. Is he on the Colts?
Yeah, he's on the Colts now, and he played for the Dolphins, which makes it more notable that he made those comments.
Yeah, that was kind of funny because my brain did want to say it was Xavier Howard, but I was like, surely he's not on the Colts. But anyway, but like the Dolphins just look so dysfunctional. I mean, if they were gonna have their like their September Super Bowl, I thought it would have been against the Colts. And also I still think the Patriots are going to be feisty. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs at this point. I mean, losing to the Raiders is kind of critical. Like you should win that game, but I still think they're going to be a pretty good team under Mike Vrabel. I also picked the Patriots here. I was tempted to go with the upset, but I mean, I just didn't like what I saw from them.
I am not brave enough to pick this Miami team against almost anyone. So
no, until they show me otherwise, I'm going to assume they lose a lot of games.
Yeah, after week 1, they got to prove it before we actually back them. So that's what we're going with. Moving on, we've got another divisional matchup here. We've got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Browns, I was impressed by their defense in week 1. They really contained Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense, which was not supposed to happen, but it did. So it makes you wonder how they will hold up against the Ravens offense, which should be one of the best in the league. I'm guessing that they will put forth a good performance, and it's a divisional game, so things could get weird. But I don't think Cleveland has the offense to keep up. I'm going to take the Ravens, probably by double-digit score as well. A 10-point win at least. So, yeah, give me the Ravens here. I'm not going to hesitate.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the way more intriguing question is, do you take the over or the under? Because as I see it right now, the Ravens are favored by 12.5. Like, I could see you taking the under, but also, like, I think it's the type of thing like the Ravens, like, they lost that humiliating game. Well, not even humiliating. Well, that's not the right adjective. It's like they lost that game against the Bills, where, like, they should have won, but then, like, I mean, we all saw it was a thriller.
Right.
I think they'll be more motivated to just, like, really lay the smackdown on Cleveland. And, I mean, in that game, we saw, like, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, they just, like, exploded. And, like, Lamar Jackson did what he needed to do, right? So, I do think they'll be very motivated. I think King Henry is just going to be back. Assuming he's, like, healthy and things like that, he's going to be a problem this season. And, I mean, if the Browns pulled up the upset, I mean, I know the Ravens have lost some, like, weird games just randomly. Like, I think they lost to the Raiders last year or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the year before.
At some point they did. But they're not starting 0-2 here, surely.
No, yeah, you wouldn't think. But I do. I mean, I have the Ravens winning. I would be shocked if the Browns pulled away with it. But it's the NFL, so anything can happen, I guess. But
any given Sunday, right?
Yeah. What's that?
I said any given Sunday, anyone can win.
That's true. But no, give me the Ravens against their former quarterback.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy. Next up, we got my team, unfortunately. The Carolina Panthers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Panthers basically own the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know how, I don't know why, but we tend to beat them no matter how bad we are or how good they are or vice versa. So, I'm inclined to take Carolina here, but we also looked so bad in week 1 against the Jags that it's really difficult for me to actually do that. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, it's really intriguing. I mean, obviously, like, if you tell me y'all own the Cardinals, that's worth something. I mean, like, there's a lot of games where, like, maybe it would be, like, one way, like, it would be side one way or the other, but because the other team, although we did just see the Chargers kind of break their funk against the Chiefs, for instance.
Right,
so
and we saw the Bengals break their funk against week 1 in general.
Week 1, yeah, that's true. So, I mean, I think, like, just the matchup overall, I'm taking the Cardinals, like, pretty comfortably. It does kind of pain me to say just for your sake, but I was, like, I'm even on record saying I was very disappointed and sad just to see, like, Bryce Young not do that well. I mean, you would have to feel that way just, like, exponentially more. So it just kind of goes to show. Like,
I mean, you kind of saw me ranting during the game and after the game and the next day and tonight.
We were all expecting and hoping for, like, a Bryce Young, like, a kind of renaissance. And it's just probably not going to happen. Sounds like you're just out on Bryce overall, but I'm picking the Cardinals to win. It wouldn't completely shock me if y'all kind of turned things around and won that game, but I'm picking Cardinals. What about you?
So here's the way I see it. The Cardinals did not look that impressive against the Saints. And the Saints are trash. They're worse than us. I can still say that until it's proven wrong, which it might be soon. But it's neither here nor there. As of right now, we are better than the Saints, who played a close game with the Cardinals. We're going to be able to contain the receivers. Marvin Harrison Jr., I like him, but J.C. Horn is going to lock him down. All right. Trey McBride, I'm worried about him. He's probably going to have a great day. If you're starting him in fantasy, you should feel pretty good about that. Their run game, I'm not worried about their run game. I know our run defense isn't the greatest, but I think we showed flashes of being able to contain the run last week until that big run we allowed ETN to go on. I'm going to take Carolina. I know. We're terrible, but I'm a loyal fan. We've owned the Cardinals most years. We're going to somehow find a way to win. There's no logic here. It's just historically we own them. You can go look it up if you want. Give me Carolina.
All right, I respect that. I mean, you make some good points. I mean, the Cardinals, they kept it a one-possession game against the Saints, and didn't necessarily look impressive. I mean, I'm glad that Marvin Harrison got me fantasy points, though. I'm very glad to see him doing well, but we'll see. I guess we'll see. Hopefully not another Panthers disappointment.
It's going to be another Panthers disappointment. Next up, we've got the Denver Broncos taking on the Indianapolis Colts, and this is, amazingly, one of the most interesting matchups of Week 2, because we get to find out just how good Indiana Jones and the Colts offense is. They put up 33 on the Miami Dolphins in Week 1, I believe. That's more of a product of the Miami Dolphins defense not really existing, in my opinion. Their secondary is abysmal. The Denver Broncos have one of the best secondaries in the league, though. So we're going to see if Indy is for real or if it's all a fluke. My gut tells me it's a fluke. I don't believe in Danny Dimes and the Colts offense. Not to the degree that they're going to come in and beat Denver, at least. That defense should be able to contain Indianapolis. Denver offense didn't look very good against the Titans defense. I do think the Titans defense is better than the Colts defense, though, which is not a popular opinion yet, but we'll get there. I'm going to take the Broncos in this game. I'm not really that confident, I guess, in the Colts' ability to hang around here. The only way it's going to even be close is if the Broncos' offense is just going to be bad again, which I'm pretty sure that Sean Payton's going to be yelling at his players all week, making sure they are in better shape here. So I'm going to take the Broncos, and I'm taking them by double digits.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I tend to concur. I'm also taking the Broncos, although I do think it's pretty interesting just how the NFL changes that, Daniel Jones versus the Broncos defense is one of the more intriguing matchups of the week. I think just the way Daniel Jones played, I know they played a trash secondary and the whole defense against the Dolphins, but still he put up really insane numbers. I think actually he's the only quarterback in the Super Bowl era to lead a scoring drive on every single possession. I think that's fact. I mean, don't quote me on it, but
yeah, look it up yourself and let us know in the comments.
Yeah, but it's just it's like Peyton Manning level efficiency, literally. So it's but again, the Dolphins are not that good. It's just one game. I'm not here to overreact. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to do that against the Broncos defense, which is I think a top 3 unit in the league. So I would say I'm taking the Broncos to win as well. It wouldn't completely shock me if the Colts kind of found a way to win that game and just make the whole AFC South race more intriguing. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't really want to be competing with the Colts for the division title, but I think the Broncos win comfortably. I'm not sure about double digits, but I think it'll be a pretty comfortable win. I do also think that Bo Nix will bounce back. I know he had a pretty poor performance last week. I think he threw a couple picks, right?
Right.
I still think he's very good. I don't think he's Patrick Mahomes or anything like that, but I still think he's a good quarterback, top 10, 12-ish. I think he has that potential at least. I think Sean Payton will kind of right the ship there.
Yeah, no, we're in agreement there. Broncos should be able to win this one. We have what may be the game of the week. I don't know. It's the Super Bowl rematch. It's the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Eagles, in Week 1, they got the win against the Dallas Cowboys. They weren't exactly impressive, though. A.J. Brown was off on the sideline, probably reading a book until the fourth quarter when he had that one reception in the game. We had the offense being really boring to watch, but very effective and methodical. The defense was the biggest surprise because they allowed the Dallas offense to move down the field until, the delays in the game. I wasn't impressed with them in week 1. The Chiefs, though,
Sure.
wasn't really impressed with them either. Their lack of playmakers was a little bit concerning after Travis Kelce basically tried to kill Xavier Worthy. I'm joking, it was an accident, I'm sure. Who knows? But, yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster and Hollywood Brown are Mahomes' top receivers for this game, which does not bode well. So, it's going to be an interesting matchup to see if Philadelphia's defense will perform better against Mahomes and their weapons on offense.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be able to see if the Chiefs' defense is going to have another off game because they allowed Justin Herbert to absolutely shred them in week 1. So
that's true, yeah.
It's really intriguing to me because if the Philadelphia Eagles win this game, as many are probably going to pick them to, the Chiefs start 0-2. And they're already in a hole in their division. They're the only winless team in the AFC West. So you could almost say they need to win this game, but yeah, it's a little too early to be saying that.
Get into that territory. And that's a good point that I was actually going to make as well, which is that, like, not only is, would Kansas City be 0-2, but if the Broncos win like we think they will be 2-0. But also, the winner of Chargers-Raiders will be 2-0. So you'd be 0-2 with multiple 2-0 teams, ahead of you. And, like,
right.
I mean, still at that point, I mean, what we can talk about later, but I still probably would lean the Chiefs to win the AFC West. I'm gonna kind of like die on that hill until they literally prove that, like, okay, there's another team like on the rise.
Right, but if they start 0-2 and then these other two teams are 2-0, then it starts to get concerning.
It's not looking great for them. Now, granted, it's a tough schedule. They'll probably have some easier games. But did you have any other thoughts about the Eagles Chiefs?
Not really. I mean, we all know what this is anyway. It's a Super Bowl rematch. It's two of the best teams in the league in recent history and today. Shorthanded Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams looking to play better in week 2. Who have you got?
It's a really good question. And, like, again, this is a very intriguing matchup because, like we talked about, if the Eagles win, they start 2-0, Chiefs start 0-2. But if the Chiefs win, it's just like, maybe they're back, or the Eagles, like a little bit fraudulent. They kind of barely beat the Cowboys. It's really tough, and I mean, we were looking at the line. It's like it's basically a pick 'em. I think maybe Eagles are slightly favored. And it's in Kansas City, right? Yeah, it's in Kansas City. Really, really close, and I don't underestimate the fact that, like, Kansas City doesn't have very many weapons. Their defense wasn't all that impressive. I predict that Kansas City will find a way to win this game. I do think, like, this is already kind of mission critical for Mahomes and Reed. And in these mission-critical situations, they have found a way. It might be something ugly like 21-20, and then there's going to be like a stupid like blown call or something like that. Something like that's probably going to happen. Also, it is worth noting that, like, the refs have been tending to favor. They tended to favor the Chargers in that game. So, like, they may not have them on their side. So it'll be pretty telling if, like, that trend continues and the Chiefs go like 9-8 or something like that. But
oh man, imagine.
Right. Totally. But I do think that Mahomes and Reed will find a way. I know they barely have any weapons. I know their defense. They allowed Justin Herbert like a career game or close to it. But also he's dating Madison Beer, and I don't think Jalen Hurts is dating Madison Beer. So
yeah, because if you date a model, apparently you're just due for an amazing game and or season.
Right.
The stats back it up. Do some research.
So I think it'll be very close, and it wouldn't shock me if the Eagles did start 2-0 and the Chiefs went on an 0-2 funk. But it is a pretty tough start to the schedule for the Chiefs. You get the Chargers in Brazil in week 1, then you get the Super Bowl champions. I do also think, by the way, they will be motivated by that Super Bowl. They'll kind of have that. It'll be kind of that revenge factors. All those factors. I'm taking the Chiefs. I think they'll find a way. It'll be close. It'll be a tight game. Unfortunately, not prime time for some reason. They just put it on like the 4 or 3:25 slate. But I have the Chiefs. What about you?
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs too. You said a lot of things I was going to say, especially the motivation part. They just lost to this team in the Super Bowl. It wasn't just a loss; it was an absolute embarrassment, and they've had to hear about it all off season. I'm sure there's a ton of motivation, and they're coming off a loss too, so they're motivated by that as well. I would imagine Mahomes is going to play some angry football here. I think he's going to absolutely ball out. And from what we saw from the Eagles' secondary in Week 1, I wasn't impressed. I know the Chiefs are down some receivers, but Juju Smith-Schuster can play. Hollywood Brown can play.
Sure.
I know that's not ideal, but these are guys who have proven they can have good games. And they still have Travis Kelce, who is obviously not in his prime anymore, but he could be ready for a decent game as well. You never know. Somehow the Chiefs are going to find a way. They're going to play a good game on defense. They're going to play a good enough game on offense. They're going to get the win. The way more interesting storyline would be if they lose. I'm not gonna lie, that would be so fun.
Oh, for sure. No, if they start 0-2, and then you have like one or two other teams at 2-0. Then we start to ask, like, are the Chiefs actually going to win the AFC West? Or are they kind of fumbling it a little bit? I think it'll also depend on how the game goes. Because like if it's a close loss, I think a lot of people still think they'll be good. But if they get blown out, I mean, they got blown out in the Super Bowl. They get blown out again, like
it'd be a bad look. Chiefs at home though. Chiefs at home, get it done. Next up, Sunday Night Football for some reason. It's the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Minnesota Vikings. We just saw the Vikings in primetime for some reason, and for most of that game, they did not look good, just bluntly. Overall.
Wait, so Vikings got 2 primetime games in a row? I just realized.
They did. Yeah, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football.
Maybe they're like, they moved off Kirk Cousins, so now they can handle primetime.
By giving them a game against Kirk Cousins' current team. That's a great idea, NFL. I don't know. It's young quarterbacks, so I get the appeal there. J.J. McCarthy against Michael Penix. One of these quarterbacks looked good. J.J. McCarthy did not. But credit where it's due. He finished the game well in the fourth quarter. He did what he needed to do. The Vikings got the win. The Falcons, they did not. Penix did a good job putting them in position to tie it up at the end. Kicker just missed the game-tying field goal. I was more impressed by the Falcons in week 1 than I was by the Vikings overall. So I am going to take the Falcons. I think that if they were able to contain the Buccaneers offense, they're going to be able to do the same to the Vikings offense. And J.J. McCarthy, who I'm still not really a fan of. I think that Penix is going to at least be able to do what the Bears offense did with Caleb Williams, except I think that the Falcons coach actually allows his quarterback to throw further downfield. I don't think Caleb really did a whole lot of that, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that the Falcons have more weapons. They have a more exciting quarterback. I'm going to say the Falcons win this game.
All right. Yeah, that's a really interesting synopsis, and I would not be surprised if that's the case. I did think that Michael Penix looked very sharp against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and honestly, that was my thought. Like, even like the few games he played last year, like he just kind of looks sharp. Like that's my adjective for him. I don't know if it's like kind of out there or like whatnot, but like he just kind of slings the ball. I think he's like pretty accurate. I'd have to like actually fact check, but I think he's pretty pretty decent. I think he'll be a solid starting quarterback. I'm not sure, like, I don't think he'll be like some like, multi-time all-pro necessarily or anything like that. He'll probably get a few Pro Bowls because the Pro Bowl's a joke. So he'll probably get some just because of that. But anyway, but also, J.J. McCarthy, I mean, we both intermittently watched the game. What I noticed, though, is like, yes, he did have a rough start, but he did kind of engineer the comeback, and he was a hero when he like needed to be. So I kind of think, like, just based on one game, which obviously is only one game, I do probably agree he is Jimmy Garoppolo, but with a little bit of clutch. Like, down 2 possessions, and like he kind of like willed his team to like a comeback. I'm not saying like he did all himself. I'm sure like the coaching helped and just like things like that.
Yeah, coaching, the scheme, having Justin Jefferson on your team.
Like a top receiver you're throwing to, right? So there's some factors there as well. This was really hard for me because like I really want to pick both teams. Like, I do think it is now. Actually, the game tonight, was that in Chicago?
Yeah, it was at Chicago.
And that kind of factors in a tiny bit because this is the Vikings home opener. It's on Sunday Night Football or Monday. It's on Sunday Night Football. Yeah. The crowd's gonna be there. They're gonna be like cheering and everything like that. I'm taking the Vikings in this game.
I mean, look, I'll be rooting for him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's very close. I did kind of want to pick the Falcons because I thought that would actually even things out a little bit, to where it's like, okay, maybe the Vikings won a game they shouldn't have, and the Falcons lost a game they should have, so that would kind of even things out, and that would make sense. And I would also be here for a Falcons win, like if like Michael Penix just kind of like solidified himself and everything like that. I think it'll be very close, but I do have the Vikings winning. I do think J.J. McCarthy, like, again, I don't think he's anything special either, but I think he'll do what he needs to do, and I think just all around the Vikings are slightly better. Obviously, they'll have like better like weapons and things like that. Well, I guess outside of Jefferson, they don't really like
I think they're very even, just because I think the Vikings' roster outside the quarterback is better a little bit, but the Falcons have the better quarterback here for sure, in my opinion. But I've been a long-standing J.J. McCarthy hater. Nothing against him, just not a fan of his play. But
yeah,
I don't know, it'll be close.
I think it's pretty even, but I pick the Vikings here. I think they'll have an electric home field advantage, and JJ McCarthy will do just enough to win.
Well, something tells me this is going to be the game that decides who has a better week in our pick'em here.
Yeah, probably.
Monday Night Football. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Houston Texans. The Bucs coming off a clutch win against the Falcons. A little bit of luck there, but they got the job done. The Texans coming off an ugly loss to the Rams. It can only get better from here, you would think. Daniel, you're a Texans fan. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so obviously, if you watch like my streams, reactions, everything like that, I was very discouraged by our showing. I was like, and our most recent stream, the Week 1 reaction, I was like, this is the same old Texans where like we have no offensive line presence. Our receivers are just very hit and miss. Like, you know, I'll harp on the stat again. We had no one caught more than 4 balls, nor caught more than like I think it was 30 receptions or was it 28? I don't know, something like that.
Something like that. It was pretty low.
Yeah, like Nico Collins was a non-factor, and I thought CJ played pretty well just given the contract of the offense, but like, you know, just like didn't really do much. Bucks maybe not as sharp as you would have thought. Baker had an okay game. He had 3 touchdowns, which will inflate his stats, but his completions percentage wasn't that great. I mean, Emeka Egbuka apparently had a really good game actually, so it's looking like he's going to be kind of like a prime sort of like, you know, I don't know if like offensive rookie of the year is pushing it, but definitely like he's gonna be like it's looking like he's gonna be good. And they still have Mike Evans. I don't think Godwin wouldn't be back, would he?
No, he's out through the month. He'll be back sometime in
October.
October.
Yeah, okay. I didn't realize how long he would be out. But I mean, yeah, I mean like they'll still have Mike Evans and everything like that. It's a very tough spot because I do think like I've been saying like I think the Buccaneers like could be dark horse like NFC contenders. And I still think that even though they didn't have the sharpest showing against the Falcons, I do think like I mean, Baker Mayfield last year threw like 41 touchdowns. They have like Mike Evans and like, you know, like Emeka and everything like that. And like, you know, on the Texans, like, and maybe our defense can like stymie them. That's kind of the one like kind of hope that I have, which is that like, you know, CJ and them will do just enough and then the defense will like kind of like hold them down. It is looking pretty tough though. Like, I'm not exactly sure. Like, you know, our offensive line is not going to be that good. I mean, they have like Vita Vea, right? And a couple.
Right.
Do they have Ron Reddick?
Yeah. Yeah, they have Reddick and they have Winfield at safety as well.
Yeah, so it's not really going to be easy showing, and I'm kind of afraid that we'll start 0-2. That said, I got the Texans. I got the Texans winning this game. It's going to be Monday Night Football. It's in Houston. We are going to show up. It's going to be a very close game. You know, I think it's going to come down to like a game-winning drive or, you know, something like that, but I do think our defense will stymie the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, they did look that sharp against the Falcons. Maybe the Falcons have a decent defense. I don't know. But, you know, we're gonna like lay the smack on them. Derek Stingley is gonna kind of like, you know, because I wasn't impressed with Derek Stingley last week, but he's gonna completely lock down Mike Evans or Emeka, I guess, if for some reason, like, you know, we're covering. I mean, I don't know how the coordination is going to work, but Derek Stingley's going to lock up whoever he is covering. You know, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson are going to come after Baker Mayfield and not give him chances. Actually, you know, they'll probably be fine. But anyway, but I actually do. This was one, like, I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people will be picking the Bucs. I mean, I assume the Bucs are favored. Actually, I actually don't know, but I think we're
Houston is favored in this game at home.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well. I just think, like, we're going to come back. I know, like, we did not score a touchdown last week, which is actually kind of... Are we the only team that did not score a touchdown last week?
I have no idea.
Maybe. It might be the case, but I do think we're going to kind of, like, have a resurgence. I mean, our offensive line will still be a problem, but I think Nick Caley will drop some plays and we'll have a showing. I think Nico Collins will finally show up, but I have the Texans winning. How about you, Mr. Isaac?
So this is a matchup between two teams I was really high on in the preseason, and they were two of the biggest disappointments to me in Week 1. I went kind of overboard with my Houston Texans expectations because I decided to believe that the offensive line was going to be better this year, which would result in CJ Stroud absolutely balling out, and he was going to have to carry the offense.
Yeah, I can take responsibility for that because I did lead you to believe, like, oh, we're going to, like, just wave a wand, and our scheme's going to be
No, you can't take responsibility. I made that choice myself to buy into the adjustments on the offensive line being able to pay off, and then going with, oh, CJ Stroud is going to throw for a ton of yards and be MVP this year. I went overboard with it. I was being unique for sure, but that's not looking good so far. And then Tampa, I have them winning like 12 games this year. They got the win in Week 1, but they did not look good. But the difference between those examples for me is Houston was not playing a divisional game. They're playing a good Rams team, and it looked ugly. they look just like the same team they were last year. Tampa, I can give them the excuse for now that it was a divisional game, so I don't want to read too much into it yet. Maybe there are actual problems there that are going to continue to be revealed, but I'm guessing this is going to be a better showing for the Bucs. Regrettably, I'm going to take Tampa. Based on what we saw in Week 1, Tampa did look better than Houston looked. Preseason, I was going to take Tampa in this game, I believe. I'm not going to stray from it, even though Houston's at home. I don't like it. I'll be rooting for Houston, because I root against my rivals every time. But
right, of course.
I'm going to side with Tampa here and hope that I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, as a Texans fan, I can pretend to, like, boo and everything like that. I don't really blame you, though. Like, I think it's very close, and, I think the pessimistic person in me, wants to pick Tampa for sure. I mean, they probably will win, but I do think, something's gonna, happen. I think we played pretty well in, primetime games recently. I know, the one loss that comes to mind is, that game against Detroit where we were up, where Jared Goff threw, 5 picks and we still lost. But, we did, we beat some teams. I know we beat the Cowboys last year. I don't know. I mean, we had that game against the Colts 2 years ago. I mean, there was a game against the Bucs actually 2 years ago where CJ had the game-winning drive with 36 seconds. Now, I don't think he'll be able to replicate that necessarily, but,
Right.
That does give me some confidence. That said, I wouldn't be shocked if we lose. I think if we lose, I don't think we're necessarily in panic mode at 0-2, even though,
You're in the AFC South. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a weak division. We could easily come back, especially if, the Colts lose. Now, if we lose and the Indianapolis wins, I would be a little concerned. But, it's a tough schedule. And we said, even before the season started, Rams and then Bucs, that is not an easy schedule. I think we get the Titans or Jags next, so hopefully we just kind of, take care of them.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, that's one of our swing games. I mean, I don't blame you, but, hopefully the Texans win.
Hopefully the Texans win. We will see what happens on Monday night. We'll probably be streaming that game, by the way, with our Bucs fan friend, so that'll be a fun one. Be sure to tune in next Monday night. Wrapping up our Week 2 NFL predictions, we have the Chargers taking on the Raiders in a AFC West showdown, which could very well be for first place, or it will at least be for a tie for first place.
That's true.
Interesting game. The Chargers are coming off a big win against the Chiefs. They're having to come back to the United States, though, to play this game. The Raiders coming off a win against the Patriots. I'm inclined to take the Chargers here for sure. I've said the Raiders are a fun team, but they probably won't have a lot of wins. They got a good win in Week 1. The Chargers should just be straight up the better team, even if the Raiders are playing at home. I'm going to go with the Chargers here. They looked really good in Week 1. I really like their team overall. Give me the Chargers. No hesitation for me.
No, yeah, definitely, and I think that's a really good pick. Obviously, Chargers had a really good showing against the Chiefs. Raiders, won the bet they beat the Patriots, so it's which again, I know we think highly of the Patriots or whatever, but it's still not the most impressive. I do think that's probably the expected outcome.
But it's not like beating the Chiefs.
That said, I'm picking the upset. Actually, I am picking the Raiders to win this game. I know it's an upset. I know it's oh, the Chargers should win, right? And they probably will. I mean, just given the odds. But I do think this will be an upset. I do think maybe the Chargers will be a little bit over their skis. They just beat the Chiefs. I mean, they're kind of coming from Brazil, which I don't necessarily think jet lag or anything's going to affect them. I think they'll be just fine. But it's in Las Vegas. The Vegas Raiders are kind of they're a little bit hot. I mean, they have Pete Carroll, Geno Smith. I mean, maybe this will be the Ashton Genty breakout game where he goes off completely. Jacoby Myers could go, but I think this might just be a game. I think the Chargers overall will still be good, but this might just be a random game that they just charger up after a big win. So I know it's not expected. It'll probably backfire on Monday Night Football, but I'm actually taking the upset. I'm taking the Raiders.
Wow. Alrighty then. I mean, I don't mind it because we are disagreeing more than I thought we were going to this week. So hopefully one of us takes the lead in our pick'em competition. We're both 9-7 right now. Both disagreed quite a few times on this one. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
It'll be exciting. I mean, last week we had a bunch of kind of swing games where we disagree, and we're still at 9-7 each. So
surely one of us will separate this week. Definitely.
Oh yeah, you would think.
Definitely.
You would think.
All right, well, that is it for our Week 2 NFL predictions. I thought that was good or really bad. That might have been terrible. I don't know. We're going to resume this next week with our Week 3 NFL picks. We'll look back on this and see how we did. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what your predictions are, because we want to hear from you guys. We want to know who you think is going to win, and we also would love to hear your thoughts on our own predictions, where we went right, where we went wrong. Just let us know what you think.
For sure, and also just if you did kind of stick with us till the bitter end, we will probably be commentating some of these games. I know you're talking about maybe doing like the Thursday night game, which if you did, I'd probably join you for at some point. I'd just be joining late, but Commanders Packers, that will be an exciting game, and then I think we'll also have one for the Bucs Texans, so that'll be really fun to watch.
There's an outside chance I'll solo commentate the Panthers game since it's in the afternoon, and I'll be able to. So chances for that happening for sure.
Yeah, not to mention, what's the Sunday night game? Oh yeah, Falcons Vikings. I mean, yeah, we'll probably have our like live stream in between, like the after. I mean, who knows? Maybe something there. I don't know. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Just be on the lookout for our predictions, our videos, broadcasts, and everything like that. And stay tuned for the next one.
Yeah, we'll be back hopefully on Thursday with a stream. And yeah, see you all next time.
Peace.